Alright there folks, back again for another video. In this one we are diving into all of the reveals that came out over the, last night regarding the Warhammer Age of Sigmar launch box for the 4th edition of the game. We got a whole bunch of new reveals for both the Stormcast Eternals and the Skaven, who are going to be part of the launch box, which is called Skaven Tide. We'll look into that in a little bit more detail soon, but let's go through all of the different miniatures that are available for both factions that will then be part of your Spearhead and also be available when you're diving into building up your forces for larger games. We start with the new Lord Vigilant on Gryff Stalker. This is your mounted hero that you saw in the trailer, armed with a seriously brutal looking axe and looking very dapper indeed. This is the leader of your force, which is, as they say in the description and they said during the live stream, a mixture of both miniatures, characters and troops from both the Warrior Chambers and the Ruination Chambers, who have come together to try and stop the onslaught of the Skaven, that Skaven tide, as it washes over the realm of Aqshy around Hammerhal and beyond. As you can see, really gorgeous miniature, diving into and pushing that grimdark aesthetic that you get from the new stuff for the Stormcast Eternals, and looking exceptional as a new mounted character to lead the way. Definitely got the vibe of a sort of Vandus Hammerhand from the first set, but sort of done in a new style to sort of mark the changing of the storyline and the way that it's gone forward. It's a shame that it isn't Vandus himself, I suppose, who's sort of like teetering on the edge, but it's a fun miniature nonetheless, and going to be a lot of fun for people to paint. If you do it in the style of the Gryff Stalker that you see here as well, it's not going to be too much hassle to paint the actual mount itself, but an absolutely gorgeous miniature, as you can see there, with some nice options for you to dive into and have some fun with. Next up, we have a variant of the Lord Veritant. So this is a sort of new take on that. Flaming sword at the ready, blinded by something during their time, alongside their faithful creature at the same time there. What's that again? A Gryffcrow. There you go. A Gryffcrow companion. Looking very awesome indeed. Love the addition of all the fire and the spikes. Again, very grimdark. Flaming sword's very nice as well indeed. Love the sword on the back as well. Sorry, not sword. The shield on the back as well, which is covered in all those pennants and stuff, which is going to be fun for people who want to do a little bit of freehand work on them. It's good to see a nice mixture of chainmail mixed in with the plate, which kind of helps to break up the large, sort of like heavily armored aesthetic of the Stormcast Eternals, and is certainly something that fits with their their Thunderstrike vibe, I should say, sorry, as we move into the new edition of the game. So yes, it is designated to purge corruption from the darkest corners of the mortal realms, slaying sorcerers and heretics. A good opportunity to add in some witch hunters from your cities of Sigmar. Bring Callus and Tull alongside the Lord Veritant, and I'm sure you'll be very happy with those when they land. We also had the Lord Terminos, who is effectively the headsman of the Ruination Chamber. This was pretty interesting. These lonesome individuals are also responsible for the rites of the last threshold. They take the heads of soul-stricken Stormcast Eternals who voluntarily enter oblivion. So yes, if you are on the edge of breaking effectively, if you're about to fall and the reforgings have become too much, the Lord Terminos will stride forth and cut your head from your shoulders. Like most of the Ruination Chamber, this fellow is teetering on the edge themselves. They have they are, how would you say it? They are sort of followed by one of the Memorian Squires, as you can see there, with 2 censers burning. So another really interesting addition to the collection of miniatures for Warhammer Age of Sigmar on the new 4th edition. If you are a fan of Questors, so you've played Silver Tower and the like, then you will be pretty happy to see the Knight Questor stepping into the ring once again, as well as a new miniature. This is an update to what we've already seen for the Knight Questor. As you will know, if you're a fan of the lore, the Knight Questors are sort of given a charge, a mission, by Sigmar himself or someone high up, and no one can stop them in their endeavours. They're given, effectively, as you can see here, that God-given duty to go and hunt out something, be it a relic or a particular character that they need to assassinate or something, and they can only return to Azyr, effectively, once that has been done. And an absolutely gorgeous new miniature for those people wanting to throw a fun new character into their armies. I am definitely going to be getting this for mine, because I am a massive fan of Knight Questors. I think they're super cool and have some very neat lore to them. And so throwing them into the mix is going to be a given. Gorgeous stuff once again. Lots of flame and spikes on show as always. We then have the miniatures that we've previously seen being added into the mix. So there's Reclusians alongside more of their attendants. We've talked about these in the past, so let's not gild the lily, but they are those on the brink of death, sent out in the last moments to go and use what stores they have after many, many reforgings to battle their enemies and send them into oblivion. They are accompanied, was the word I was looking for earlier. They are accompanied by the Memorians, as you can see there, again, who are a link to their past. So before they became Stormcast Eternals, these would have been family members, or at least these are a part of that lineage that has sort of stayed with them and been linked to them in a way so that they can be somewhat grounded and retain some of their personality as they fight on, regardless, for the God King himself. So again, very grimdark, very cool, and it's nice to see these miniatures popping up once again. So yes, a whole bunch of new Reclusians to throw into the mix. We also have the reworked Prosecutors. Again, we've seen these previously. The initial designs for these had that kind of sunburst design to the wings. This has slightly more of a grimdark and sort of brutal feel to it, with the wings on show with that flaming element to them, streaming off the back. Should be a little bit easier to paint, and hopefully a little bit more stalwart on the tabletop, with the addition of those new flying bases, which aren't as fiddly as the old ones. For those wondering, yes, you will be able to use helmeted heads on these if you do not like the open face plates. I think I'm going to be going with the helmeted version, just so I can do the white of the Anvils of Helnhammer on there as well. But yes, a nice little set of Prosecutors, so you're going to get 3 of them. I should say also you get 3 of the Reclusians alongside the Memorians, and then obviously all the heroes that we've seen above. Then, last but not least, for the Stormcast Eternals, we also have your units of Liberators, armed with twin hammers or hammers and shields. It doesn't matter how you build them nowadays. They all have the same profile, so just go with it and have fun. Like the rest of the Thunderstrike Stormcast, they have access to both helmeted and unhelmeted versions. While I normally would go for helmeted versions, there's something about that kind of nose guard that I'm not necessarily a massive fan of, but I will do my best to do a little bit of mixing and matching between these. I think I'm genuinely impressed by both the helmeted and unhelmeted versions, apart from the nose guard. Otherwise, I think they look really nice. You obviously get the mixture of both twin hammers, or as they would have called them, a pair of celestial weapons, or a celestial hammer and a shield. That guy is possibly my favourite, although she is coming in a close second. Love both of those designs. Definitely going to work that head into my collection. Looks very nice indeed. And obviously you've got the Grand Hammer there as well, which gives you another option when it comes to building that force. I believe you get 10 of those in the box. We'll have a look at those in more detail in a minute when it comes to the contents. So yes, that is the collection of miniatures for the Stormcast Eternals. Lots of Liberators, Prosecutors, Reclusians, and their Memorians, alongside the Knight Questor, the Lord Terminos, the Lord Veritant, and the Lord Vigilant on the Gryph-stalker. So a good selection of miniatures there. Lots of heroes alongside your basic line troops that you'll be able to build up to create fun and interesting armies, no doubt. We then have the Skaven side of the box set. I wasn't necessarily concerned with the Skaven. Thought I was probably going to end up selling them on, but now I've seen these, I am very much on side with the Skaven. They look absolutely amazing. Leading the way is the Claw Lord on the Norbeast. This is your big centerpiece miniature for the set. Comes armed with that absolutely brutal Volge-style spear, crafted out of warpstone alongside a repeating pistol on the back of that nasty Norbeast, which is reminiscent of classic Forge World Warhammer Forge designs from back in the day, looking absolutely emaciated and gorgeously ugly at the same time. Love that red armor. Again, it kind of reminds me of Queek Headtaker, especially with that kind of back spike banner at the same time as well. Should be a lot of fun to paint that one up. A little bit more of a look at the details there coming into that miniature. Very nice little set, and will be valorous in their own right, I'm sure. They are also joined by possibly one of my standout miniatures from the set. I really love the Night Questor. I think he looks absolutely fantastic, but I think he may have been beaten to best miniature of the box, in my opinion anyway, with the addition of the Grey Seer. I think that is a absolutely stunning version of the Grey Seer. And a massive update on what we've seen before, effectively because it was locked behind the Screaming Bell kit anyway, I suppose, really. But he comes on foot alongside that little gaggle of rats that you can see at the bottom. He's also using a awesome blade, which is very reminiscent of the classic Fell blade that the Skaven had access to. So that's a nice little nod back to the Skaven of the past. Obviously, Skaven designs always incorporate that kind of hooked blade design anyway, so it's not a massive departure from the stuff that we've seen previously, but it's good to see that kind of callback to kind of classic Skaven in their design there. If you're going to be playing something like the Old World or Mordheim, I will just say that everything you're seeing here is very much geared towards you as well. Don't feel that this is just for Age of Sigmar. I think a lot of the classic aesthetic for the Skaven has followed through, so you could easily use these if you're diving back into the Old World and playing games with of Warhammer there. Talking of updates, though, we also have these absolutely stunning new Rat Ogres for use in your games. The original Rat Ogres have been in production for a very, very long time, and it was good that they finally getting an update. So Clan Moulder has been busy, as you can see here, building a selection of 3 different Rat Ogres who can be given a variety of different weapon options and heads and accessories. So if you want to change them up, you are going to be able to do so. One of the things that I think is quite nice about what they've done with these sets, and you can see it through the miniatures that we get here, is that they've not necessarily gone for them just being pinky skinned rats. They've really pushed that kind of idea of them being slightly darker tones as well, which is going to be good for people diving in for the first time and engaging with the hobby on the painting side of things. The Stormcast Eternals are obviously incredibly easy to paint. You just kind of do them silver, dry brush or whatever, throw a wash on after you've done the sort of base colours, and away you go, really. But with the Skaven, you've got a little bit more detail to try and contend with. I say a little bit more, quite a lot of extra detail to contend with. Although I think these are going to really pop with the addition of base layers. Maybe do a little bit of wet blending with some contrast paints or something, or speed paints from Army Painter. And then I think you could just highlight these up and away you go. So yes, absolutely gorgeous new Rat Ogres for use in your armies. Clan Skyer have not been resting on their laurels, because they are also bringing forth the Rattling Warp Blaster, which is the upgrade to the existing weapon kit that we'd seen previously for the Rattling Gun. This takes things to a new level, as you can see, pushed along by a selection of Skaven slaves or clan rats underneath there, with that engineer on the top making sure all the gears work. I hope this is exceptionally brutal, but also incredibly dangerous and prone to blowing up. I think that would be absolutely superb. A very nice addition to the range there, and something that we saw as part of the trailer for the game. They are also backed up by a Warlock Engineer. Again, we've seen the miniature for this one in the past. Not really a mage or a spellcaster in any way this time around. More of an inventor and a tinkerer. Bit of a shame, I guess, as having them kind of like the lower level mages, spellcasters in your Skaven army compared to the Grey Seers. But a interesting miniature, sort of sneaking around the background, sort of making sure that they can take pot shots at all your heroes and stuff on the tabletop. And then making up the majority of the box set, we also have the new Clanrat miniatures. You get 40 of these, I believe, in the final Scaventide box set, and they have been designed so that they're easy to put together. So all of these, as described by the designers, are two-piece miniatures. You just push them together, and away you go. They also talked, I talked earlier about painting and trying to make it easy to do these. That was one of the prevailing features around these as well. I would say they're probably on the same level, maybe a little bit easier to paint than the Kruleboyz from the last set for Dominion. Looking really, really nice all the same. Love that all of the Skaven are very individual, feels like a swarm rushing forward. You've got your command element in there as well, of course, which is nice to see. You could easily paint these up with contrast paints and make them look amazing very, very quickly, I think, especially when you start to blend stuff between the fur and the rest of their skin. It'll just then be a case of throwing on some metal, maybe start with a dry brush or something like that, and then work your way through, and then just slap on lots of rust, and away you go, really, when it comes to Skaven. But yes, amazing new Clanrat miniatures as well, making an appearance, some of which we've seen previously in other updates. There's then the Warplock Jezzail, so these are your sniper teams. They're going to be sneaking around at the back, taking pot shots, as I mentioned earlier, alongside the Warlock Engineer, looking really nice indeed. Lots of interesting widgets and gizmos alongside their classic Jezzails, which look really, really nice as weapons. It'll be really good to see people painting up these and really making the Warpstone glow thing pop throughout the range to kind of give you that really nice contrast to things. And yes, while I am definitely a Stormcast Eternals player, I am going to be keeping my Skaven half of the box set because I think the miniatures look absolutely gorgeous, and I will love to paint them up and, you know, work on a spearhead of these just so I can start playing the game earlier, which is very nice indeed. But yes, lots of stuff for the Skaven alongside the Stormcast Eternals. Gorgeous miniatures in the set, and a lot more than we thought. I mean, I did a video the start of the week, well, over the weekend, where I was trying to guess what was going to be in the set. I vastly underestimated what they were going to throw into this one. It is a absolutely mammoth launch box. Talking of the launch box, here are the final contents for this. As Blight City bursts into the realm and the hour of ruin is upon us, the Scaventide has come and everything is going to pot. The box set is chock-a-block, as you can see here. Features the Hallowed Knights, but obviously paint them however you like. You get 24 Stormcast Eternals miniatures, which is spread between, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 10 Liberators there, alongside 3 Prosecutors, the 3 Reclusians alongside their attendants, the Night Questor, and the rest of the miniatures there as well. And then all of those Skavens. So you get a huge amount of Clanrats alongside the Rat Ogres, the Jezzails, the Gun, the Grey Seer, and the Claw Lord as well. So 50 Skaven miniatures, 24 Stormcast Eternals miniatures, 4 terrain features, which is 2 smaller pieces of terrain, and then 2 wall sections, which are damaged, broken, blasted versions of the stuff that we would have seen in Dominion when they were starting to raise up settlements. This is where the Skaven are coming in and destroying settlements. You also get the Range Rulers. I should say the 4 terrain features are very much designed for you to help start playing spearhead games straight away, rather than it being something. I mean, obviously you could evolve that into your larger terrain collection anyway, but it's not, and it's nice to see terrain regardless. But that's very much geared towards you starting to play spearhead. You also get the Warhammer Age of Sigmar core book, Spearhead, Fire and Jade book, the double-sided game board, which features both Ghyran and Akshi on there, and variants then flow into the way that you play your games with the tactics decks. You get your Spearhead card deck and your General's Handbook cards as well. So you can start playing match play straight away once you get your hands on the launch box, as well as just playing the Spearhead game mode. And then this basically just went through all of the miniatures that we've just looked at and gives you an idea of the numbers for these. So yes, definitely come and have a look at these in more detail if you are excited about this. I should say one of the big things as part of this pack is them very much pushing Spearhead. This one comes with 2 new forces. So there's the Vigilant Brotherhood for the Stormcast Eternals and the Northeast Claw Pack for the Skaven. You get these as part of the Spearhead Fire and Jade book, which contains the additional rules for the 25 separate Spearhead boxes and Spearhead Battle Pack and the core rules as well, all in one place. So you can dive in and start using all of the Spearheads that you already have access to as part of the Vanguard boxes and Spearhead boxes. These will be available online, free to download anyway later on, but it's nice for people who are diving in playing the game for the first time to have access to all of those Spearhead rules in one place, so they can just dive in and have some fun. This gives you an idea of what else is included as part of that kind of Spearhead bundle. So there's the terrain again, which is used for playing your Spearhead games. There's your cards, there's the book, and then there's those 2 gaming mats. So a bumper collection, as you can see. There's also the core book. So this is the core rulebook for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which contains everything else you'll need to know for playing the game, with a very nice Lord Terminos on the front there, ready to cut off some heads, alongside the General's Handbook cards. They're not done as a book anymore. They're a set of cards that will feature all of your battle plans and everything that you need to know for playing the tournament season, which is going to last for an entire year this time, so there's no kind of 4 monthly breaks or whatever where they change things up with new stuff. You get that General's Handbook, you play for a year, that's all you need to worry about. Done and dusted. There is also this new book. The Dominion book was actually really good. I listened along to it, and it was well worth adding into your Black Library collection. But this one is called Skaventide by Gary Kloster, and it features the Stormcast Eternals battling against the Skaven, themed around the Vermin Doom and this box set, which is really nice. So if you wanted to build a narrative around what you're playing on the tabletop, maybe get your hands on this book or get it through Audible or something with your credit for the month, and you're about to dive into this and expand your knowledge of the mortal realms and get a handle on what's happening. One of the nice things they've talked about as part of this box set is that they're really pushing the idea of looking at it from a mortal's point of view. Previous editions of the game have very much focused on Warhammer Age of Sigmar from a kind of omnipotent, godly viewpoint, sort of taking in all the different realms and the way that they work, and never really giving a human's eye view or a mortal's eye view of the events that are going on. And that is definitely the case with what they're doing here. They have a gorgeous map, which I think is going to be very important for a lot of people. But then here's where you sort of see the breakdown of how it all sort of explains the realms and how they work and who lives in them, why they fight in them, what humans are doing alongside all these battles with the gods and everything else in between. It's been interesting looking through some of the images and stuff and seeing what's remaining and what looks like it's going. All of it seems to be very much focused on the new Age of Sigmar miniatures. A lot of the old stuff is kind of very much phasing out. But yes, it looks like a very bumper core book that I will no doubt be devouring in the near future. And of course, here's that General's Handbook that we talked about earlier as well. Contains all of your rules for 24 into 25, including your battle tactics and your special rules and the way that you score things, and also your battle plans and everything there as well. So it's all included in one place. It'll be interesting to see if this becomes available separately from the box set. I would assume it will do. I would imagine it's also going to sell out fairly quickly, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see on that front. And then, of course, here's that Spearhead book, as we were mentioning earlier, which contains all of the printed rules for your spearheads that are currently available, as well as the new Sons of Behemat and the spearheads that are made as part of this box set. So you'll get 2 for 1 effectively when it comes to both the Skaven and the Stormcast Eternals, I would assume. Although the Skaven one, I guess, is phasing out in favour of this one, whereas the Stormcast Eternals have access to the Indrasta's spearhead one. So yeah, maybe the Skaven are getting sort of phased out in favour of the new one compared to the Stormcast Eternals, who will have access to 2 effectively. But what you'll see is that the actual spearhead forces are much smaller than what you get in the box set, so you'll be able to play with a portion of the miniatures. So just get the spearhead stuff painted up first would probably be my vibe, and then from there you can step into painting up the rest of them, depending on what you like and where you want to go next. So yes, really awesome stuff there when it comes to what else is jam-packed into this box set. A little word on price. I was watching the live stream and then was watching the Honest Wargamers kind of reaction to it as well afterwards. and he was saying that a few people had spotted that in the competition rules there is a price attached to the terms and conditions. So if we go through and find those, I can't remember where they were. They're probably in here somewhere. Anyway, but yes, there are some sort of terms and conditions in there. Oh, there we go. Terms and conditions. Before the 30th of May. So yes. There is a value in here somewhere regarding the box set. And I think it was, yeah, here we go. £160. So that's probably where you're coming in when it comes to this box set. So if you're buying this from a friendly local store, rather than paying £160 to Games Workshop, you would instead be paying what, maybe 10-20% off, depending on what you think. So what's that? So 10% would be £16. So you're probably getting 30 odd pounds off it. So 130 if you're getting it from a good retailer, maybe 150 if it's just a little bit off. We shall see. But yes, some sneaky stuff there that helped people work out the prices for this one. And then, yes, of course, they talked about the Spearhead game mode in a little bit more detail at the end of this. Seems like an interesting idea. It'll be fun to work out if there's replay value in it. The play space is very small, as you can see here in this image. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, but then I'd seen the measurements and I kind of just hadn't collated that in my mind. The fighting is going to be very fierce and very quick. Obviously, some miniatures will come back, some won't, based on the reinforcement rules and stuff. It's meant to be played in about an hour, so you can fit it into a lunch break, and also takes place over the course of a can be played on like a coffee table or something like that. So you could set this up in a downstairs on the coffee table, play a game, put it away, go back to work if you work from home or whatever, or do it in the cafe at work if you really wanted to and show off. That would be quite cool. It comes with the two double-sided boards, as you can see there. So you've got Gairan and Akshi, as we were talking about. And then you've obviously got that book, which we talked about there. There's the gaming mats. There's the terrain and the range rulers with little tiny rats on them. Oh, that's lovely. There's all your specific Spearhead cards. So you get these and use them for playing the game. They're split into both battle tactics and a command on the other side for the most part. So these are cards that you draw during your turn, and you can either use them to try and complete your battle tactics, or you can use them to do your command. So if the battle tactic is useless, then the command might be useful. If the command is useless, then the battle tactic might be useful. And obviously that plays into the way that you score your victory points during your games. You also have two sets of twist cards, which are based on both Gairan and Akshi. So depending whether or not you're playing in the realm of fire or the realm of life, you'll have various things that will change up the game and the way that they play, regardless of whether or not you're the underdog or not, which is very cool. So a very nice little set of bits and pieces in there too. So going back to the actual contents of the box, if we scroll back up to here, where was it? I think it was here. There we go. So if we scroll back up to what's in the box, it is absolutely heaving with miniatures. All of those miniatures, so what, 74 miniatures, 4 terrain pieces, the 2 range readers, and all of those books. The core book is hardback, the Spearhead book is hardback. You've then got all the cards as well. It seems like a legitimately good buy, especially if it's £160. I mean, in Games Workshop terms, that's pretty good. I guess the only thing to keep an eye on is whether or not they can actually make enough of these for the people that want them. I imagine the pre-orders are going to be absolutely insane for this. It'll be interesting to see what the interest is like based on Dominion and the last edition, where you can still get your hands on Dominion boxes even now. Hopefully they make enough of Skaven Tide that you'll be able to dive in and pick them up and have some fun with it. It'd be good to maybe even see if they put together another queue system or something for the game as well, so you're not going to lose out. Maybe they'll do it on sort of like a made-to-order basis. We shall have to wait and see, or in waves. Never know. But anyway, dive into the comments down below and tell me what you think about the new release for Warhammer Age of Sigmar and the new edition and the Skaven Tide box set. What did you like from the Stormcast Eternal side of things? What did you like from the Skaven side of things? And do you think it's a good value for money box set if you are interested in diving into the Mortal Realms or already a fan? As someone who is building up their Thunder Strike army at the moment for use in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, this seems pretty much up my alley. And yes, I may have somewhat become daunted by the idea of how many Skaven I'm going to have to paint at some point. But yes, let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. There is also a Ko-fi link down there, so if you enjoyed this kind of overview of what's coming in Skaventide and you want to send some moolah my way to maybe help with the hobby, then feel free to do so. However, you don't have to if you don't want to. Just in getting involved in the conversation is what makes me happy. I love having back and forth with you folks down in the comments. So yes, make sure to get involved down there. And yeah, we'll be back with even more Warhammer Age of Sigmar goodness in the near future as they look to reveal more over the coming weeks before we move towards the pre-order window for this one. Thinking end of June perhaps for the release of this. So pre-orders very soon, no doubt. Maybe this weekend or next. We shall have to wait and see. But anyway, yes, thank you very much, and we'll be diving into another video very, very soon. Bye for now.